Now at 5. The FBI has broken the case of the deadly backpack bomber wide open. Federal officials swarmed the small Stevens County town of Addy this morning, and by this afternoon, the man suspected of planting that bomb was in federal court in Spokane.
KREM 2 News at 5 starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for being with us. I'm Randy Shaw. Jane has a night off. After 7 weeks of investigation, the FBI this morning honed in on a prime suspect in Stevens County. A search warrant was executed in a mobile home near 12 Mile Road and Townsend-Sackman Road. That's in the town of Addy. And there they arrested Kevin Harpum, a former member of the U.S. Army and a reported neo-Nazi. Now he's accused of building the deadly bomb. All day long online and on air, we've been all over this story. We have KREM 2 News team coverage for you right now. Katie Udis was at the district courthouse as Harpum made his first court appearance a short time ago. Cole Heath talked to the mayor of Spokane and other top officials about it. First, Danielle Grant has been up in Stevens County all day. She's live with how the arrest came down.
Randy, this arrest was a huge development in the case. Just behind me, you'll notice the actual area, the road that leads up to Kevin Harpum's home is still blocked off at this point. But again, earlier this morning is where those officials made the search warrant. Now that, again, is where the FBI did the search warrant at his home. We're told that the raid went smoothly. No one was hurt. Harpum was arrested outside his home, and authorities say he surrendered peacefully. Law enforcement officials say that it wasn't a tip that led them to the suspect, but rather the forensics on the backpack. Neighbors we talked to say that they woke up to loud noises this morning. They heard, they actually went outside. They saw some road crews out there working, but it wasn't just that long after they heard a loud explosion. That's when Kevin Coy, one of the neighbors, stepped outside his front door and saw all the commotion and knew something big was happening.
The vehicles are all nondescript, nobody's wearing anything, and all of a sudden I start seeing Kevlar helmets and night vision scopes and tactical assault rifles and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, whoa, something's going down around here. I don't know what, but apparently it's pretty big.
And a short time later, Coy says that crews hauled away a blue Honda Civic. He believes that car belonged to another one of his neighbors. The back window of that car was completely smashed out. Now, folks that I talked to, those neighbors, they kind of talked to the FBI. They said that they were from Seattle as well as Spokane that were out here earlier this morning that did that raid. Now, coming up in my live report at 6 o'clock, we're going to talk to those neighbors exactly about who Kevin Harpum is and what they have to say about him. Reporting live, Danielle Grant, KREM 2 News.
The law enforcement sources say it was forensics on the bomb, not some tip that led them to this suspect. Again, Kevin Harpum was arrested at his mobile home, no resistance. He just appeared in federal district court here in Spokane. KREM 2's Katie Udis was there. She has more on the charges this guy now faces.
Randy, we're on location where the bomb was found, and it's just blocks away from the federal courthouse, and that's where we got our first look at Kevin Harpum this afternoon. Now, cameras are not allowed in the federal courthouse, but we do have this sketch of him. Let me show you the sketch and also describe his demeanor and what he looked like in court today. He was shackled and handcuffed when he came in. He answered yes and no to the judge's questions very simply. He was wearing a gray sweatshirt and blue jeans. He also had light brown hair and a mustache, no visible tattoos. Now, our cameras were the only ones rolling this afternoon when his defense attorney spoke to media outside of the courtroom. He says he's not seeking bail at this time.
The hearing would be set within a couple days, and that's not sufficient time in a case like this to do the kind of investigation I'd like to do. We can always bring a hearing at any time, so to rush it didn't seem to make sense.
He even says he doesn't know much about his client, Kevin Harpum. Harpum's first charge is attempted use of a weapon of mass destruction. A conviction of that crime carries a maximum penalty of life in prison. The second charge is possession of an unregistered explosive device. Now, that is a maximum of 10 years if convicted. The probable cause document is sealed at this point, so even the defense doesn't know much about the government's case against Harpum. Now, the grand jury will meet on the 22nd, and that's when the indictment will take place, if it does take place, and also when the defense will get to look at the probable cause document. And the defense could choose to do a bail hearing at any point. Reporting live, Katie Udis, KREM 2 News.
Now, we reported just a couple of days after the bomb was discovered that a couple of T-shirts were found inside this backpack bomb, and those shirts originated from the town of Chewelah. That's the same area of today's arrest. One T-shirt came from last year's Stevens County Relay for Life. The other from Stage Time Theater School's production of Treasure Island. The FBI had been following those clues closely. Organizers for Stage Time Theater told us the FBI did several interviews up there with them. Now, from the start, officials have called the backpack bomb sophisticated. It was placed on a metal bench with a brick wall to one side for maximum force aimed toward the street and the parade route. Officials say that it was possibly made by someone with a military background, maybe a member of a hate group. That also describes the prime suspect now in this case. KREM2's Othello Richards looked into Kevin Harpum's past. He joined us now live with more.
While researchers at the Southern Poverty Law Center, a small civil rights group, tells us that Kevin Harpum apparently spent time in the military in the mid-90s.
I just heard about it this morning, and I'm just really surprised. Kevin's kind of a quiet kid, and so I was really taken back by it.
Matt Taylor lives across from Kevin Harpum's parents' home in Kettle Falls. The last time Taylor says he saw Kevin was last summer.
He's been down helping his dad out on his farm. His dad had mentioned to me that Kevin was going to take over his farm, and so he was showing him, how to, they grow alfalfa and stuff like that, and he was just down there helping them out.
Taylor says Harpum has ties to the Kettle Falls community that goes far back. This is his 1990 yearbook picture taken during Harpum's sophomore year at Kettle Falls High School. The district superintendent tells us he did not graduate from there and he does not know from where. What we have learned from researchers at the Southern Poverty Law Center is Harpum was apparently in the military from 1996 to 1997. Records suggest Harpum was part of the 1st Battalion, 37th Field Artillery Regiment at Fort Lewis, Washington. The law firm reported in 2006 that Fort Lewis was one of several military installations with a concentration of secret extremist members. Along the same lines, the law firm, which tracked the white supremacist movement, says they have record of Harpum being a member of the Neo-National Alliance in 2004. It is not known when Harpum joined or if he is still a member. One local we talked to tell us around that same time, a white supremacist group went around town trying to recruit members. Now, we have also learned that Harpum was a registered voter and he voted in the November general election last year, and as the law states that felons cannot vote, so you can conclude that Harpum is not a felon. Reporting live with Othello Richards, KREM2 News.
We talked at length with the Southern Poverty Law Center today. They track white supremacist groups, as you heard. And tonight on KREM2 News at 6 o'clock, you're going to hear their detailed information about this group called the National Alliance and how it's linked to the Aryan nations. You're also going to hear about the staggering list of violent acts involving this group, the National Alliance. Spokane police officers were, of course, instrumental in finding that bomb before it went off and rerouting the Martin Luther King Jr. parade. They also played a key role in cooperating with the FBI during all this investigation. We had a chance to talk with Police Chief Ann Kirkpatrick in Seattle today about the arrest.
Historically, we have had some white supremacy history in that region. And as far as concerns, it's certainly not reflective of Spokane and Spokane City. So even when this event occurred, it was absolutely an offense to the community of Spokane. This is not reflective of who we are. We indeed embrace diversity.
The backpack bomb has grabbed the attention of the nation for 2 months now. During a news conference today, right along the U.S.-Mexico border, the U.S. Attorney, Eric Holder, asked about the apprehension of Kevin Harpum.
An arrest has been made in connection with the attempt to place a bomb at the Martin Luther King Day parade in Spokane. It was a viable device. It was planted with the aim of injuring or killing people, and we were fortunate that it did not go off and that people were in fact not killed. We were just lucky in that regard.
That was U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Now, it's been 7 weeks since a powerful backpack bomb was found along the Martin Luther King parade route. Sten Wallstrom has a look at the investigation since that point.
It was January 17th, downtown Spokane, about 40 minutes before a parade to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was going to begin. 3 city sanitation workers found and reported a suspicious backpack left on a metal bench along the parade route. The FBI said without the 3 men taking action, it could have been catastrophic, and later called the men unsung heroes. The bomb was defused and sent to FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia. After initial analysis, Texas. A person familiar with the investigation called it unusually sophisticated, with a remote detonator and the most potentially destructive he had ever seen. Spokane County Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich later said the bomb also contained a chemical mixed with shrapnel, later said to be lead pellets coated with rat poison. In addition to the bomb in that backpack were 2 T-shirts with ties to Stevens County, where we saw the arrest this morning. Sten Wallstrom, KREM 2 News.
We first learned about today's huge arrest thanks to viewers who called the KREM 2 newsroom. From there, of course, we went to work to confirm everything that was going on. Anytime you see news break, we hope you'll let us know. You can email us as well, or even just post a comment on our Facebook wall. We're still working on many angles of this developing story tonight. Our news crew is still on the scene up in Stevens County. Plus, we're going to hear from Spokane's mayor about developments in the case. Don't go away. After 7 weeks of investigation, forensic evidence has led to an arrest in the backpack bomb investigation. 36-year-old Kevin Harpum appeared in court late this afternoon to face charges. In fact, he could face life in prison for building a weapon of mass destruction. That arrest is bringing some relief to the local community and, of course, local law enforcement. A sense of relief also being felt at Spokane City Hall following this arrest. The mayor of Spokane sat down with KREM 2's Cole Heath about all of this. He's live from downtown Spokane with the mayor's reaction.
Well, Mayor Mary Werner tells me that today's breakthrough is enormous progress compared to where we were about 2 months ago when those workers found the undetonated backpack bomb and reported it, potentially avoiding a deadly event.
We've been worried about this event, of course, since January 17th. Our utmost priority has been the safety of our community. And to have this breakthrough relatively quickly, it's enormous. It really reflects the professionalism and cooperation of our law enforcement community. What I think will be alarming is when ultimately the individual's motives emerge. Our community is so strong, and we feel safe in our community, as we should. So to me, what will be most revealing is, why did this person do this?
Mayor Werner tells me the biggest testimony of the resilience of the community was a turnout at the Eastern Washington University Football Victory Parade, which traveled along the same route only a few days after the attempted attack. And another breakthrough, as a testament to the resilience of the community, is the fact that they're expecting an even larger turnout to next year's Martin Luther King Day Jr. Parade. Reporting live, Cole Heath, KREM 2 News.
Coming up next, as the investigation in the small town of Addy goes on tonight, we have more reaction from those in Spokane who felt they may have been targets of this backpack bomb.
Tonight, a closer look at those private investors who are running up the price of oil and scoring easy bucks at the gas pump. That story and more only on the CBS Evening News.
You're watching KREM 2 News at 5.
All we heard was that this was the most sophisticated bomb or device that they have seen, and there was rat poison, so there was a lot of speculation.
Reverend Happy Watkins spoke to us earlier today. Watkins is well known in the community for reciting Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech every year. This year, plans for the Martin Luther King parade were, of course, disrupted by this bomb. The bomb itself was across the street from Andy's bookstore. KREM 2's Tova Tupper joined us now live with a look at what employees at the store had to say about today's arrest.
The manager at Annie's bookstore says when she found out about the arrest, her first thought was, I hope this is the right person and this will soon be over. Someone called the store to let them know about the arrest. The staff quickly logged onto the internet to get more details. After it sunk in for a few minutes, the manager says the arrest is also a relief. She says the last 2 months have paid a toll on the staff at the bookstore. One employee even quit. The manager says that employee just did not feel safe working so close to where the bomb was found.
We don't know if the person's been coming into the store, if they're going to revisit the site. And so for us, it's just kind of a peace of mind that this person isn't out there. They're not going to come back. They're not going to do something else.
A few weeks after the bomb was discovered, Annie's bookstore found a racist pamphlet hidden inside a book. The manager cannot remember if the pamphlet is affiliated with the National Alliance, which is a neo-Nazi group Harpum was a member of. And employees at the bookstore say they feel safer heading into the upcoming St. Patrick's Day parade. It's an event they all look forward to every year, and says this arrest gives them more reason to be excited for it. Reporting live, Tova Tupper, KREM 2 News.
We're still in Stevens County as this investigation unfolds tonight. Taking a a look now at a scene in the small town of Addy, Washington. We have much more to come tonight on Krempton News. We'll be right back.
And now, the KREM 2 News Storm Tracker 2 forecast with Tom Sherry.
Pretty traditional March day today.
Gosh, it just keeps on with the same type of weather. You know, folks thinking about getting their garden going, maybe want to start planting the seeds, not in the ground, but like in the house or your greenhouse. Maybe this weekend might be a good time to do that. Talking about it, keeping you about 8 weeks before you put the seeds in the ground, meaning you transplant it into the ground is when you get it started. That's what the Sherry House will be doing this weekend and into next week. And you can see still some snow covering the hills of the higher elevations, but it's been mostly rain elsewhere. Doppler radar showing a lot of rain down to the south of us, in between Spokane and Colfax and Moscow. Some very heavy rain now, just beginning to move into the Pullman area, the Colfax area, where you see that shade of yellow right there. Then snow occurring up to the north of us, up along the Canadian border. So again, and then lots of snow and rain, kind of a mixture throughout the Silver Valley. Let's talk about it, though. As far as temperatures are concerned, 48. So it really has warmed up quite a bit. Downtown's at 48. Ephrata is at 56 degrees, 58 in the Tri-Cities. Scattered rain and snow showers this evening. The snow would be in the higher elevations with temperatures in the 30s. We'll look for an overnight low of 36, so it stays well above freezing. So not anticipating any snow for us overnight, just rain. And I do think we're going to get a lot of rain overnight and into your Thursday. 48 the expected high. Most of the showers will be in the morning hours, then tapering off by the afternoon, late afternoon. Here's a look at the forecasted highs and lows around the region with lots of rain getting into the upper 50s in Moses Lake tomorrow, 57. We'll see 55 in the Tri-Cities, 53 in Yakima, 52 in Wenatchee. So obviously much more mild air now moving in, but it's wet air mass. Mid-40s in Coeur d'Alene, almost 50 in Spokane with a high of 49. We'll see 48 in Kalispell, 51 in Libby, and should see temperatures hit 42 in Bonners Ferry. Boy, they're just lined up. One of them missed us, moved up into British Columbia. Check the next weather system right there. That's the one that's rolling in overnight and tomorrow, and you can see it moving in from the southwest, so it's warmer. So 48 tomorrow, 43 on Friday, 45 on Saturday. Things are shaping up a little bit on Saturday. Of course, the St. Patrick's Day parade at noon in downtown Spokane. Now it appears maybe the rain might hold off until late in the day. So maybe after the parade. And don't forget Saturday night when you go to bed to set your clocks ahead 1 hour. Then we'll look for a few more showers to start the first part of next week.
Rain and 40s, huh?
That's March weather.
We're still covering more of this developing story for you tonight on the arrest in this bomb case. We'll have more right after the break. If you're just joining us, an arrest has been made in the backpack bomb case. FBI officials swarmed over a rural area in the small town of Addy early this morning up in Stevens County. Search warrant was executed there at a mobile home. They arrested a former member of the U.S. Army and a reported neo-Nazi. He's been identified as 36-year-old Kevin Harpum. He's accused of building that deadly bomb and planting it in downtown Spokane. Law enforcement source says it was forensics, not on the bomb, not tips, that led them to this prime suspect. Harpum appeared in federal court this afternoon. He was charged with use of a weapon of mass destruction and possession of an unregistered explosive device. He faces life in prison if he is convicted. And we have several news stories for you on the arrest of this backpack bomb case tonight on Krempton News at 6. We're going to take you into the history of the neo-Nazi group that Harpum has ties to. It's called the National Alliance. And you're going to hear from the people who live in the town of Addy about their neighbor being arrested in this case. And you'll hear reaction from the arrest of local officials downtown and the NAACP, who helped organize the MLK March. And we have time now for a look at the weather.
Yeah, it looks like we've got more wet weather on the way overnight and into tomorrow, but temperatures are going to stay above freezing, so I think it's mostly just rain. And then we'll look for maybe a little more rain developing late Saturday and into the first part of Sunday. Maybe dry for the parade, another parade downtown.
Right. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks for being with us. See you later tonight on Krempton News at 6.